have maintained a foothold here for longer than anyone would care to remember, and they were certainly known to the gentlemen who collected in Victorian times. There are no public footpaths, and the nearest single-track road, the one which runs between the little villages of Stone Warren and Langford Tofts, never comes closer than 300 yards. The eastern edge of the wood contains a short stretch of Drover's Way, one of the oldest of our ancient tracks, used to move cattle around the country and even down to London many centuries before the invention of railways and tarmac. Occasionally a keen amateur historian wanders this way, determined to follow the exact route of those drovers for reasons of his or her own, but mostly Spring Covert is left alone by the rambling British public. Those blackthorn coverts hold another secret, another rarity, and on this late May morning it is singing, unseen as always, hidden in the thickest of the thickets, a nightingale. It is late in the season for daylight song. Perhaps he is without a mate this year. It is surely the most beautiful of bird songs, and yet it has always a note of melancholy, and those who gave the bird its scientific name felt this too, for he is Luscinia, which in the old Latin means a lamentation. Between the blackthorn where he sings and the oaks at the edge of the covert is a small clearing, a little grassy meadow edged with pink and purple foxgloves and studded with ox-eye daisies. In the late morning sunshine there is a hum of bees at the foxgloves, and white butterflies dance in and out of the wood, into and out of the sunlight. There is just one sign that people ever come to this place. On a mossy square stone slab is a simple glass vase. Inside it is green with algae. It contains no water. There has been no rain to speak of for weeks, only a few dried stems of flowers that someone must have put there a long time ago. Chapter 2. At a few minutes after noon, the glade had fallen silent. The bird was still there, but invisible among the thorns, waiting because there were voices in the wood now, people coming towards the little clearing, and creatures hear us long before we imagine they might do so. An old man entered first, a walking-stick in his right hand, the left parting the stems of the sallow bushes growing beneath the last of the oak trees. The man held the branches aside, allowing a much younger woman to pass through, and after her came a tall man, also young but polite. He said thank you and stepped forward into the clearing. The old man, Jim Goodrum, limped a little as he followed them, and said, "So, here we are then?" The accent was local and as strong as it ought to be. He had already informed them with some pride that he'd lived in this parish every one of his 82 years. The two strangers looked around, and then the young woman said, "It's a beautiful spot," but there was a note of surprise in her voice, as if for some reason it should not be. The young man put his hands into the pockets of his smart grey trousers, looked thoughtfully around, and then said, "Where exactly, Mr. Goodrum?" The pair of them were far too dressed up for coming through the woods, but Jim knew they'd been to see the vicar at St. Mary's in Stone Warren. That would be why. He lifted the walking-stick and pointed with it towards the other side of the clearing, to the edge of the blackthorn thicket, which was now casting a little shade where the foxgloves grew. The young man began to walk in that direction, and the other two followed him. When they halted again, Jim Goodrum cleared his throat, half-pointed with the stick, and said, "As you can see." What they could see now was the stone slab and glass vase in amongst the meadow grass and the delicate white haze of the cow-parsley flowers. The girl looked up at her companion.